Welcome to Academy Live. We have some very special guests from across the pond today. I'm super excited. Sophie Dowsett Smith and Limara Thorne. They are going to tell us about their brand new podcast, Athena Rebels. I am super excited to talk to them about leadership, about women in tech, about everything they're going to talk about in their new podcast. I don't want to waste any time, so let's bring them right on. Welcome, Limara and Sophie.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you for being here. We're going to do something kind of fun. Since you guys have known each other for a very long time, I won't say how long. You've been friends for years. You know each other so well. I would love for you guys to do each other's intro. So I'm going to start off with Limara. Why don't you give us an introduction to Sophie?
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you, Amanda. So I am so excited to introduce Sophie because not only is she my colleague, my friend, and now my partner in crime for our amazing podcast adventure. So what can I tell you about Sophie? Well, she'll never tell you this herself because she's far too humble. But our story goes back over 20 years. And in that time, I've learned one thing. She's absolutely extraordinary. She's the kind of person who literally makes you wonder how one human can do so much and so well. She's a mum of 3 amazing kids, and not just any mum. She's the calm in the chaos, the one who somehow manages to juggle family life, the demanding career, and a coaching apprenticeship, and now the podcast with me, all while bringing her trademark calm and creativity to the mix. Now, her patience is legendary because honestly, she deserves a medal for putting up with me for 2 decades. She's the creative powerhouse and she can teach you how to master paint pouring like a pro, and her photography skills are absolutely stunning. But her true gift is making everyone feel heard and valued. So I hope you can start to see why I call her superhuman, and I'm absolute privileged to know her.
Wow, you're trying to make me cry. Wow, let me introduce you to Limara. If you are looking for someone who can stare down a 5-foot cross-country fence without blinking, negotiate a preteen on the brink of, an emotional meltdown, and then still have the Zen-like patience to help our partners scale their businesses like it's just another Tuesday, well, then let me introduce you to the absolute force of nature that is Limara Thorne. Now, this lady is one in a million. We have been friends and colleagues for many, many years. And in that time, we have seen each other through, well, more highs and lows than either of us would actually dare to actually count. But through it all, Limara has been unwavering. She is steady. She is hilarious. She is fiercely loyal and the person you absolutely, unequivocally want in your corner. Limara is technically what some would say a crazy horse lady. She is a competitive event rider in her so-called spare time, and she has genuine nerves of steel. I really don't know how she does it. Somehow she balances this full-time motherhood to her son and waking up at a ridiculous time every morning to care for her other baby, which is happens to be a massive horse called Bailey. So all while being a bit of a razor sharp strategic consultant, a bit of a powerhouse when it comes to business growth. She clearly doesn't believe in any downtime because she's now working with me on this amazing podcast. Honestly, you can throw any task, challenge or logistical nightmare at Limara and she'll smash it 100% of the time. It's very impressive and it's also very annoying if you have to work with her. So she is someone you want to call when you want things done properly, quickly, and preferably yesterday. But she is, once you crack that steely exterior, she's unstoppable. And she's a ridiculously kind human being. So he will champion you and almost certainly make you snort with laughter at the end of the week. So yeah, I actually feel like this would make a great wedding vow. More like a speech.
I love that. Wow. I wish everybody pumped each other up like you guys pump each other up. I think that's just amazing. I love that. That was one of the things in the first episode. I was so jazzed to hear you guys talk to each other. Like that your relationship is just so real and supportive, and I'm so grateful you're bringing it out to the world. But just, yeah, just tell me, how did this thing come around? How did you decide to do a podcast, and why did you decide to do the one you're doing?
Shall I
Are you
start?
going to go, Mara?
I guess, yeah, I guess it's kind of going back a little bit in terms of what our day job is. I mean, we are in such a privileged position. We have really great conversations with business owners, CEOs, senior leaders of businesses. And we're typically speaking to them because something has stopped them growing in their business, or they have a really big business challenge that they just don't know how to overcome. And it gets us thinking and challenging ourselves in different perspectives. And I think we have, different perspectives to a lot of the partners that we've worked with. And I think that, because Sophie and I do the job together a lot of the time, we normally go and speak to partners together as a team. We're sharing those insights. And actually, we thought, we shouldn't just keep them to ourselves. The community is amazing. What can we do to actually bring this to the forefront and make it, an important conversation to be had? And Sophie, you probably want to talk about why we did it.
Yeah, it was my idea. So yeah, like Limara said, we spend a lot of time with each other, sort of traveling and sort of going to see these partners. And sometimes, we get to go and have dinner and chill out before we go and see these partners. And we were at dinner one night and we were putting the worlds to right. And I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if we recorded our conversations? And this is where we're at. So we think, we get to witness quite a lot of different things. We get to witness quite a lot of different conversations. It's something that, we've been thinking about for a while, is to get this podcast out there. But I'm a green. If anyone's done disc profiling, we're not very good at making decisions. I procrastinate quite a lot about these things. So that's why I've got my sidekick with me who manages to kick me up the butt and get me to do things. But yeah, that's why we're here. We came up with it over dinner, having a really nice conversation about visiting a partner, and thought that this was something that we should get out there, get these conversations out there.
That's amazing. I'm so happy you did. I love that. The Athena part absolutely makes sense. I've seen you guys in action. You have so much wisdom to share with the world, with us. I've learned personally so much from you guys. I would love to know though, this rebels part. Tell me more about the rebel component. It kind of makes what you're doing special. So I want to hear more about this. I don't know if maybe Limara, you want to take that one.
Yeah, of course, Amanda. So, yeah, I mean, from a rebel side, I think, we are just very normal people. But we are a little bit naughty, I guess we can say. We like to push the boundaries, challenge the status quo. So, yeah, we're fun. We're a little bit rebellious. So we thought, you know what? We want to bring the kind of, intelligence and the wisdom to the forefront, but with just a little twist, right?
I love the connection with the name and the meaning behind that. We do have a clip. I'd love to play a clip, one of the first episodes, if we could.
So today, this episode, we thought we would talk about juggling, but not from the circus. Although sometimes it feels like that.
Definitely can't juggle.
A balancing act between kind of working and parenting and your professional life and
Social life.
social life, just basically life.
Yes.
And juggling, but ultimately, like, how do we do it? We often get asked how we do it.
Superhuman.
Yeah. So we just thought we have a bit of a conversation around how we juggle our children and our home life and everything that we're trying to achieve, but also offer some stats and some guidance and some tips around what we've managed to do in our 20 plus years. Although I've only had kids for 13 of those, so
But you are a pro because you do have 3. I feel like I'm an amateur status with 1.
This is why I look like this and she looks like this.
Juggling, spinning plates, all of those things. All apt metaphors, I guess, for what we have to do with so many roles and so many. Tell me more about some of the conversations you're going to have that focus on this juggling component. Like, what what don't we take into account when we think about people in this business, in tech, in leadership, all these things that you hold dear to your heart? What else would you like to tell us a little bit more about the juggling component?
I think for the juggling one, I don't think we sometimes realize how much stuff goes on behind the scenes before someone's even walked in through the door. You know, they've have like, you know, I've got like Limara said, like 3 kids. I have to get things organized. I have to like, you know, make sure that everyone's alive before I leave the house. So, and they've got everything packed so that I haven't missed something from a parenting point of view, like, you know, parent fail or someone's forgotten their PE kit or whatever. So I think for us, the juggling one was really to emphasize that there's so much, you know, so many things that people have to do before they even walk in through that work, you know, the front door of work, and just trying to get people to understand that, you know, we're all human and that sometimes we do drop a few plates or juggling balls, whichever one you want to call it. But yeah, so that was quite something we wanted to get out there for that particular episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Limara,
you,
you said
Limara?
something earlier. You said something earlier around you never know what somebody else is going through. So I think that kind of goes with this too. Like how has this juggling showed up in your life?
Yeah, I think it's a really important topic, and it's well, people talk about work-life balance, and to me, it's just a balance. You know, to bring your best self to work, you need to be doing your best self at home as well. And I think you can never be in 2 places at once, right? So something has to give. And I think, you know, you just have to, I've learned the hard way, but sometimes you just have to be a little bit less hard on yourself, which can be really hard when you're trying to be the best at home or the best at work, or, you know, trying to elevate yourself. It can be really, really hard. But like Sophie says, it's trying to understand other people's perspectives, because again, because we speak to a lot of business owners, you know, they want the best for the business, but actually a lot of the time to get the best for the business is they need to put, you know, make sure that actually their people are coming up, you know, coming into work in their best kind of mindset and everything else. So it's just, you know, if you can be healthy in your mind, healthy at home, you can bring your best self at work. And I think it's just, I don't think there's a, you know, a rule book on how to do it, and it probably does feel like juggling at some point, right? And I think that's why we talk about it. And yeah, sometimes it feels a bit crazy, right? And we do drop balls, but we try and pick them up and start again.
I mean, as long as you're not juggling anything breakable, you can always pick them up and try again tomorrow. I'm curious. So I was really excited to hear some of the topics you guys mentioned on your first episode. I got that sneak peek. I listened to it as soon as it came out yesterday. But things like imposter phenomenon and like some of these leadership topics and stepping into your role and really, you know, embodying that leadership that you have been given. So I'm really curious, what are some of the other topics you're really excited to speak to? Like any little sneak tidbits, any little snippets of wisdom that we can kind of get a sneak peek about future episodes?
Sure. What have we got? We've got like a whole plethora of topics that we want to touch on. We want to talk about emotional intelligence and how that's really important in the workplace, how soft skills are going to be very much needed as a trait to look for in leadership, and that emotional intelligence is something that actually can be something that you can work on. You know, not everyone believes that it's an innate trait, but actually, no, you can actually flex this muscle and get better at that. We've got things like mental health awareness, because that's really important. We have actually got a guest speaker on that particular episode, a lady called Amy Brown. She works within our partner experience team, and she is very open with her mental health challenges, and she's a great guest to speak on this. We've got women in sales. I'm going to hand over to Limara to talk to you about that, because she is the queen of sales.
Yeah, love sales, love selling. I know that's a big thing for a lot of our partners who really struggle. And it's something I'd love to see more women do, because as Sophie said, like, you know, I think with emotional intelligence, some women naturally have a little bit more than males that with a self-awareness. So actually it could be a superpower that people aren't realizing can be used in sales, right? Again, Sophie's been too humble on herself. Like, she was the powerhouse behind, you know, Athena Rebels and kind of curating what a lot of the topics are about. But we're not afraid of the topics. We have already got some in mind, but we would love to hear from, our viewers, our listeners, because actually no topic is off the table. Like, the more challenging, the more kind of, oh, should we be talking about it, the better, to be honest. We want to really be challenged. And actually, as Sophie said, we had Amy Brown, just like us. We are normal gals, and we want to almost bring the voice of the average person to the forefront. There's a lot of experts out there, but a lot of us have our own insights and our own knowledge. And, I think that's really important and impactful to share, because sometimes it can be a little bit, scary for maybe partners and for other people. If you are saying you're an expert, then, that imposter syndrome can come in, and who are they to maybe contribute? We want to hear from all types of voices and walks of life. I think that's what makes it an amazing collaboration in the community that it is, because we can learn so much from each other, no matter who you are or where you're from.
Well, you definitely heard it here first. Like, they're looking for input, folks. Like, these are brilliant minds that are ready to answer your most urgent questions. So maybe you can be featured on an episode in the future if you reach out to one of these lovely women. So tell me, what surprised you the most about getting the podcast off the ground? Like, what was your biggest hurdle in doing this? Was the imposter, feelings? Was it the technology? What was your particular struggle getting this podcast going? And tell me a little bit more about sort of your process.
All of the above. Imposter syndrome. Like, really, should we be doing this? Who are we to have these conversations? But like Mara says, we're just normal girls that are just trying to get this, have this conversation and a chat really about what we feel about certain situations, and making it like relatable, really. Getting it off the ground. We just got recording. That was it, really. We had some phenomenal support from the Pax8 Studios team, and we went with it, and we got recording. I tried to plan loads of episodes so that we knew what we wanted to say, doing a little bit of research on everything, and we just we did it. And I tried to shove that imposter syndrome right down into, out of the way. So I would just do it. And like I said at the beginning, having Limara dragging me through all of this process has been needed, because we needed to do it. We really, really wanted to get this out there, and it's been an amazing journey so far. So we're looking forward to keep going on that front. But yeah,
I love that as a piece of wisdom that somebody could take today. It's like, just start doing the thing. Just start doing the job that you want. Just start doing the activity, the project, whatever it is, and hopefully you figure it out. That's just fantastic. And I will say, you are not just normal women. You are amazingly intelligent, brilliant women. And I just really congratulate you on being able to make something really cool. I'm going to go ahead and toss us to a special video showing Athena Rebels. But first, tell us, where can people access Athena Rebels?
I can take that because I'm very proud to say now that we're on YouTube, which my son is just ecstatic about. And I know, Sophie, your son was exactly the same. At least somebody in our family is going to be YouTube famous, right? That was just mind blowing. But yeah, wherever you get your podcasts, right? So we're in all of the above, basically. But yeah, YouTube is the place. I am a big fan of Mr. Beast, so to be in the same platform as him, brilliant.
Nice. Yeah, Spotify, all of it. So wherever you get your podcasts, look for Athena Rebels. Let's toss it over to this video.
Hi, I'm Sophie Dowsett Smith.
And I'm Limara Thorne.
Our new podcast, Athena Rebels, is all about confronting real issues women face in tech and the modern workplace.
What are you doing? What works? What doesn't? We only have a finite amount of time, so use your time wisely.
We've been friends and colleagues for over 2 decades, and we've seen and heard it all.
If you're thinking about it, we're talking about it. So join the rebellion.
Come check us out on the Pax8 YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts.
Wow, that is fantastic. Congratulations on the podcast. I cannot believe I am in the presence of the Athena Rebels. Like, that is just amazing to me. Um, I wanted to use a little bit of time to talk about leadership and your leadership experience and within Pax8 Academy, you've been talking, doing the consulting with so many of our partners, and you've gotten to experience leadership in so many different environments. Um, you know, is there anything that you're seeing or yeah, what are you seeing?
Yes, like you said,
I'll take that
we
one.
do have very
Joy.
privileged conversations, and we are always in the presence of amazing people. And I think we see ourselves as a little bit of homegrown talent, but a lot of the partners also have homegrown talent, and they need more leaders in their business. They need people who can step up and lead their teams. And it's not a natural kind of skill to have. And leadership is a huge passion project for Sophie in particular. She did a ton of sessions at Beyond, which were absolutely mind blowing. And she's really kind of, tackling the kind of key areas that actually leaders need to be focusing on for leadership, right, Sophie? So you've got kind of probably 3 key takeaways that people need to be focused on right now.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the main things when it comes to leadership is that if you're a leader or a manager of any kind of team member, just don't underestimate the impact that you have on individuals. It's really important. I think sometimes we forget that. We do. You have more of an impact on an individual than something like your GP or your therapist, right? At the end of the day, it's really, really important. But when it comes to thinking about individuals that are looking to go into leadership, there are 3 sort of traits that I talk about in terms of what to look for. I said it at the beginning, like emotional intelligence is really, really important as a soft skill to look for individuals that have that. I think adaptability as well is really, really key. So somebody that's able to kind of adapt to change. We are in a world of change at the moment. Everything's moving so fast, with data and AI and this agentic work, that's coming through now. So individuals that can, be able to adapt. And then I think somebody that can really advocate as well for individuals is really important. So having other people in the room that can advocate for you, advocate for others, and if you see that in individuals, then really try and bring that out in people. I think it's really, really important. But I think the key message for me for all of this stuff that we've been doing with leadership is really, really do not underestimate the impact that you have on individuals as a manager and a leader.
Yeah, I've talked to countless partners and helping them grow their organizations, and there isn't, I don't think, enough understanding of the rule of 7, right? No leader should have more than 7 direct reports, right? And you can kind of push it to 10 or 11, but you're really not doing a great job providing that leadership to the team, and the companies just stop growing. I can't tell you how many owners I've talked to when I, maybe they're stuck at 7 or 8 employees or maybe 9, and I say, well, who's in line to sort of become the service manager? And they look around and they're kind of like, well, nobody. And then it's terrible to have to break the news that, until you develop the next leader or hire somebody, which is hard to do, you're kind of stuck. You're not going to grow anymore until you build that next level of leadership. And again, it's sort of the multiples of 7. It's a problem at 7, your first 7 employees, and then 14, and then 21, and it just sort of goes on and on. Are you finding the same thing in the consulting that you're doing with our partners?
Yeah, I think we are. I think they're really challenged to find that talent and to keep that talent and what that looks like with it, to finding those individuals that are going to take their businesses forward. I think it is a real big challenge for our partners that we work with, and building out those teams and having the right people in the right seats as well is a big thing for some of the partners that we've worked with. Yeah. What do you think, Limara?
Yeah, I would just add, a lot of the reason why a leader has the owner of a business has set the business up in the first place isn't necessarily because they want to be a manager or a leader, right? They love the tech and they love helping customers, but actually they're not naturally always that good, or maybe even like the people management side of things, which is a whole nother thing to unravel, right? So, and again, when we think about, if you want to scale the business, how do we make the owner of the business less kind of needed in the, the day to day in the weeds? You kind of need to think about, well, who can take that business forward? So it's a huge challenge. So we're definitely seeing it over here for sure.
So it's a natural thing to promote your technicians into leadership roles, which is the path that I took. But I'd be interested in your take. We don't see a lot of women in the technician role. So how do we get more Athenas in leadership in our organizations?
Well, we want to see more women in just tech in general, right, in this industry, let alone in leadership roles. But the more that we can have in leadership roles, the better, because I think we can bring a different perspective in quite a male-dominated industry. I think talking about it is really important, and actually having the allyship from, from people outside of the industry as well, and inside, but that male perspective, to Sophie's point, is kind of people being our cheerleaders or advocates out, in the rooms that we're not in, to bring the women into that organization. I had a conversation with a partner not that long ago, and he said, yeah, I hired my first female because I wanted the office mum. But he realized quite quickly that actually what she brought was so much more. It was the calm, it was the nurturing side, and actually that allowed for more kind of confidence and people being able to kind of share their feelings a little bit more in sometimes an industry that maybe we have more barriers because of that male dominance. So I think it's incredibly important that we do this. And again, a huge reason why we're doing Athena Rebels, because we see it as a real passion project, and we would love to see more females be promoted and be successful. But we've got some, I know we had a podcast around some of the reasons why people leave the tech industry, and that's in another podcast as well. So you'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. So in our last couple of minutes here, Sophie, I wanted to ask you about your role in leadership as the PWR chair. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, this is a role that I've kind of taken on this year, alongside kind of Athena Rebels, because it's not, again, something that's close to my heart. And PWR stands for Pax8 Women Resources Group, and I am the chair at the moment. We are having a bit of a redo with PWR, but it's important because it's the same conversations that we're having on the podcast that we can have within our Pax8 Women's Resources Group. It is something that's really, like I say, really close to my heart. We're working with the individuals, we're raising these types of conversations internally, and it's kind of great to see, and like to Limara's point, allyship as well. So bringing all of this together under our Pax8 Women Resources Group is something that I'm really, really excited about, and yeah, being the chair of, so people can keep hearing those conversations we're having. They'll probably be sick of me by the end of it.
I love that, and thank you for stepping up and taking on that role. It's something we definitely need here at Pax8, and I can't think of anybody better. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Amanda to close us out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sophie and Limara. Wonderful, wonderful job, wonderful podcast. So excited to listening to your brilliant minds on all of your conversations. And thank you for being such amazing colleagues and teaching all of us every single day. Make sure you head to your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you like and follow Athena Rebels. You don't want to miss any of those episodes. And don't forget, Academy Live will be back in December with some all new episodes. So we'll see you then. Until then, later, Gators.